Now, a lot of guys with ADHD have super high powered jobs. It's not like they just don't do well at school. They're not good with boring things. But if you're very smart, you can compensate for not being good at boring things because you don't have to do a lot of boring things. You know, you do here and there and you skate by, but overall, you don't study super hard for tests except the night before when the adrenaline is really pumping. That acts as a natural stimulant. And then you go into fields that are more up and down. There's more excitement. There's money to be made all the time. Somebody with ADHD is not going to be a good middle manager. They're not going to be good at like kind of a boring office space kind of job. That's when they're going to do their worst. But I see, for example, a lot of ER doctors have ADHD, but the adrenaline is always pumping. If you can lose a patient, that's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of guys in finance, a lot of CEOs. If you're closing a big deal, that releases a lot of adrenaline. Solving problems and making money are huge dopamine releasers. So don't think that you can't have ADHD just because you're a very high achiever. A lot of the people that I work with are super high achievers. They still have ADHD. So what does this mean? It means that when stuff is boring at home, like the day-to-day taking care of little kids and doing housework, that's when you really check out. That's when your brain is almost asleep. It's so understimulated. That feels so aversive to be that bored. But then your partner, often your wife, you know, because a lot more higher rates of ADHD in guys, is like, what's wrong with you? Because at work, you're a rock star. So you can't possibly have ADHD, you know? So it's just at home that you don't care. You don't care about us. That's why you fall asleep on the couch instead of helping. Well, the reality is that you just have untreated, undiagnosed ADHD. At work, there's so much going on. There's so much dopamine and adrenaline being released that, you know, you can definitely stay awake, no problem. Do you still mess up on little parts of the job that are boring? Sure. And that's what you know, have other people to help you with. At home, you can't just tell your wife, you just do the boring things, because that is not acceptable. So instead, you try to do your part of it, but your part keeps getting kind of messed up because you wander away, you're tired. That's a huge thing when you're bored, is you get tired and you basically almost fall asleep, which she takes super personally. So you got to get into couples counseling if this is your issue. You may have undiagnosed ADHD. If everything at work only goes well, if you really think about it, because it's so exciting, when you're making money, when you're solving problems, when you may be saving lives, all of that kind of stuff, then, you know, how is work going to compare to home? Home is going to lose every time because it truly is boring. You know, you may deeply love your wife and your children 1,000 times more than you love work on a deep level, but that doesn't mean that you can kind of pay attention to what goes where. Your brain just doesn't operate like that. Or like, you know, putting away the laundry right. And if your wife can understand that this is an ADHD related thing and perhaps you can engage in some sort of treatment for it, then you may be in a totally different marriage with a lot less resentment.